So, after the debate last night, several people asked me, Mark, what did you think about it? And I tried to ask them for more specifics. And one said, well, about what was talked about the most. Well, what was talked about the most, I will talk about now. One word, Malloy. That was the subject. And it is wrongfully invoked by Stefanowski. Dan Malloy has been vilified wrongly, because on budgeting, he has been better than any of our previous governors. Let me name them. Jody Rell, Republican. John Rowland, Republican. Lowell Weicker, Republican in name, and then he moved to independent status. They were horrible for Connecticut. They didn't meet a bond measure they didn't love. Bonding is horrible because it puts the burden of paying for things that you spend on now onto the next generation. It's evil. And yet that's what 3 governors over 20 years did over and over and over again. They are responsible for a lot of benefits to the state workers who are vilified now, somewhat rightly on this case. The benefits are so horrendous, but where did they start? They started 40, 50, 60 years ago. The lack of funding for our pension obligations started in 1939, okay? Blame 78 years worth of irresponsibility. And Dan Malloy has actually right-sized as we stand now. He hasn't been able to catch us up significantly, but if you went from here forward, using the status, we wouldn't be in such deep hock. Now, rather than blame any governor, you really should be blaming a General Assembly that's been compliant. A governor can only do so much. So even if Dan Malloy were adamant, a General Assembly that's going to roll over and say, oh, unions take this, state employees take this, let's spend on these projects, let's bond over and over. The General Assembly does have control, which is why my biggest campaign here is not even for me. I would love to be your governor, but I would love even more to have a responsible General Assembly in 2018. Now, if I am your governor, you're going to get one by 2020. Because I'll be the one calling out anybody who is wayward more than once. That person gets primaried, that person gets unelected, so that we can finally have, whether that's Republican, Democrat, Amigo Party, Independent Party, Oz's Party. I want those people who are really on the lookout. Those people might not be politicians. They might not be on the radar screen right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the mother who's taken care of 3 kids successfully in her household knows how to balance a budget better than the General Assembly people. There were 11 Republicans in the governor's race, and I paid attention. 10 of them would invoke an irresponsible Malloy. They're wrong, okay? To his credit, I don't think Prasad Srinivasan got into that trough, because the truth is Malloy on fiscal has not been bad. He actually reminds me of another guy that doesn't get the proper credit from conservatives on financial fiscal policy. Bill Clinton. Okay? Bill Clinton, for all his liberal excesses in other areas, he actually was the president who spent relatively less than anyone else since Harry Truman. And Truman inherited a world war that he downsized from. You got to go all the way back to Warren Harding to have the budget restraint that was imposed under Bill Clinton. Now, in part, he had help because Americans stood up and they had a contract with America that said, we're going to stand up. We haven't had anyone in Connecticut that has stood up steadfastly. Bob's close. I'm better. And I've been saying it for years because I come from the perspective of the libertarians. The perspective that government should only be doing what is necessary. And the nice extra things are better done privately. That foundations, that corporations, that individuals can find the needy people, and when they have more money to give, they end up helping the needy people far more than the state. That's the regimen that the new state of Connecticut has a chance to adopt. And these dire fiscal straits put things in this corner better than any other time. I am a proponent of a small state that what responsibilities we do give it, we do them well. And the other things that the state can't do very well, we let others do. The recipients of those activities, whether that's the environmental protection people, or the people who want to care for mentally ill, or the people who want to care, mentally ill but not dangerous. The dangerous ones do need state supervision. Whether they want to help alcoholics recover, we do them better privately. Okay? Dan Malloy hasn't gotten onto that bandwagon yet, but he may come around. Okay, we'll see what happens in his retirement because he's a smart guy. I just want the truth to be told that though Dan Malloy has had some progressive spasms, okay, he's bad on guns, he is bad on the death penalty, he has not been helpful to school kids who are still stuck in bad Hartford and Waterbury and New Haven schools. But on fiscal, which is where Bob's been calling him out, that is unwarranted. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein. Thank you for listening.